Hi there. So for my credibility check, I chose my feature story from the Washington Post about how parents are rethinking screen time for their toddlers. And it's basically based all on emerging research and using expert guidance backed by that research. And then also for my breaking news story, it was about the US population and the growth of the population between the middle of 2024 and 2025. So to begin with my feature story, and focuses on the depth, the context, and the human experience rather than just a single breaking event. So this basically explored a broader parenting trends and explains how scientific research really does have an effect around screen times in toddlers and how it really has evolved so much over the last couple of years when it comes to entertaining your children. So the story was actually written by Michael J. Koren and it was published by the Washington Post a few days ago. The lead opens with a personal anecdote of how the author's family has used screen time for their family and their toddlers during a long trip and how it was able to basically keep their toddlers entertained the entire time. And this basically drew in readers emotionally, and it makes the issue relatable to all parents out there who are sort of battling the controversy of whether or not screen time is a good idea for their children. For the nut graph breakdown, this nut graph basically explains why the story matters. So it's basically reframing screen time as not necessarily a bad thing, but something that the quality, context, and parental involvement are key when it comes to screen time, especially in light of an updated guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics was the source used in this article. To support the nut graph, the story used a lot of different evidences. So there was quotes from child development specialists. Heather Corcoran was the child specialist who added in quotes to back up the evidence. There was also references to peer-reviewed research to back up the claims as well on how children are interacting with screens. So moving on to my breaking news story. The breaking news story was talking about the U.S. population. It grew by 0.5% between mid-2024 and the middle of 2025, which was the slowest growth rate in decades. So this was basically due to a historic drop in net international migration, which is obviously a very large topic of conversation nowadays. This was breaking news because it reports newly released data from the U.S. Census Bureau, and these numbers are extremely timely, and they were immediately relevant to policy, economics, and the national planning as well. In regards to the journalist and the organization, it was reported by the New York Times, and like I said, the population estimate came straight from the U.S. Census Bureau. The lead delivers the most important facts straight away, which basically drew everybody in, which, like I previously stated, the population increased only by 1.8 million people, which is a very sharp slowdown compared to previous years. The nut graph breakdown, it explains why this matters. So the slower population growth basically affects congressional representation, labor markets, federal funding, and immigration policy debates, which I previously mentioned as well. Basically, together, both of these stories are showing the difference between a feature writing that explains trends over time and breaking news that's delivering urgent new information to audiences.